Hey, good afternoon. I know there's a technical difficulty to get everybody going on, get started. I know we had to go and reboot a lot of stuff to get back on live. So my apologies for the delay. Welcome to Hendo Health and Wellness. This topic tonight is going to be powerful. It's going to be something that probably everybody can benefit from. I just want to make sure that you understand that you are in a safe place, or put yourself in a safe place mentally, and just listen to our journey, listen to our testimony, and listen to what we have gone through, and hopefully somebody will benefit from what we have to say. The biggest thing is that you listen and learn our story, and hopefully you can understand to go, it's okay to go and get help. It's dealing with mental health, depression, so on and so forth. Everybody on here has some form of mental health and some form of need to receive help. With that being said, we're going to open with a quick prayer, and then we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we're going to get to going. Rodney?
Okay, everybody, thank you. Everybody, please bow your head. Lord in heaven, we thank you for this coming together of the minds. We pray that we as men can come together and have an open dialogue and have a discussion and have views that are shared by one and all. We also pray that the people who are also visiting and seeing us through the Facebook, that they also have their hearts touched by you, and they may ask questions that are relevant to our discussion. To Christ the Lord, amen.
Amen and amen. So what we're going to do is a brief introduction, and I want you to go around and just say something. You don't have to say your job or anything, just whatever you want us to know. We're going to go into it pretty brief, and then we're going to get this ball rolling. Robinson, go ahead.
So, Charlie Robinson is my name. St. Louis, Missouri is where I'm from. I know Mr. Yates from some work interactions, and I consider him a good, dependable friend.
Tony?
All right. Well, good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tony Douglas, Antonio Douglas, from St. Louis as well. And my affiliation with Mr. Yates is that he is my beloved fraternity brother, my ship from Southeast Missouri State University, and happy to be on this panel on this very important topic.
Big brother?
You know, somewhere along the line, somebody told me I better do this or not. My name is Rodney Yates. I am big brother to Daryl Yates here, who's the host. I live here in Henderson, Kentucky, and I hope I can say something that might be inspiring to somebody.
All right. And again, like I said before, I'm Daryl Yates, better known as Yogi. Hendo Health and Wellness, my own company. As you can see, I'm representing with the shirts. Also, you can go to my webpage at hendohealthandwellness.com. You can see what the company is about, what I'm about, and you can see the products that I have on there for sale. With that being said, I always try to open up with a icebreaker. The icebreaker is going to be simple. I want you to think about it now. The icebreaker is going to be simple, but at the same time, I want you guys to really, really think about this. So, what is the one movie that you are absolutely ashamed to let anybody else know that you watch, but you cannot help but watching it every time it comes on? Whoever wants to jump on that one, go ahead. Come on. Doom, 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 doom. Come on.
Okay, I'll start. My movie is Fried Green Tomatoes. I don't tell too many people I watch that. That's what I'll say about that.
Fried green tomatoes. All right, next.
I I guess I'll go in. I'll go after that one. I don't know if I could top it, but 50 First Dates, Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler.
Oh,
Real
wow.
relevant these days.
Wow.
That's a good one.
It's a good one.
It is. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've watched it, but I've watched it.
I have
So
to.
I'll go with mine. It's a pretty simple one, but the Joy Luck Club. I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
The what?
So you have to
Tell
look,
us about
have
that
to
one.
look it up, but it is classified as a movie that maybe females would appreciate more. But when it comes on, I'm watching it.
Okay. So I don't feel so bad with mine. Mine is Urban Cowboy. I cannot help it, but I have to watch. I promise you, I've seen it at least 60 times. With John Travolta,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why I like that damn movie, but I have to watch it every single time it comes. I don't care if I'm at the last 10 minutes or it just started. I have to watch Urban Cowboy for whatever. It's a garbage of a movie, but I find myself watching it thoroughly every single time. I don't get it.
And can we ask why?
I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, maybe because of the country boy in me or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but I just, the whole cowboy scene and Charlie Daniels singing one night, and I believe it was The Devil in Georgia, the whole.
Devil went down to Georgia.
Yeah.
You want to give us a rendition?
Yeah, I don't want to discuss this anymore. So let's move on to the topic at hand. Good Lord. Hey, I don't want no Urban Cowboy jokes either. So whoever's watching, hey, look, I got jokes for y'all too. So you need to tell yours. So with that being said, I did, as you well know, COVID hit last year. COVID has been something that has put a lot of people in a mental situation that people are struggling with. I often tell folks that the walls have slowly became smaller over the months, and it's not getting any better, even though there are some improvements. But at the same time, people are not going anywhere. And I'm a traveling guy. I love going to different countries, seeing different cultures, but I'm not able to do that right now. Or better yet, I'm not comfortable enough to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing is that dealing with this mental illness or depression, which both of them go hand in hand, why do we as men avoid addressing mental illness? Robinson.
So why? First, I'll qualify my statements by saying I don't avoid them anymore, right? In the past, I know why I did, and it was before I accepted that being vulnerable is actually a strength, right? And there's this lady named Brene Brown who's got this really good TED talk about making yourself vulnerable, and you have to do that to seek help sometimes. And I can remember being conditioned as a young man to not just suppress my feelings, but pretend like they didn't exist, don't address them, strap yourself up and move on. And, you carry that stuff with you in adulthood, right? These are things that we do. And I mean, as an adult, I've addressed those things. So when something comes up now, I certainly confront it, and I don't avoid it like I used to.
Rodney?
Growing up in the situation we had a lot of men in our family where we were the centerpiece of everything. And despite, what was going on, making sure the bills were paid, making sure everything works the way it's supposed to work, we didn't have an outlet for us to go to say, hey, let's talk about this outside of drugs, alcohol, cigarette, whatever, And as far as me, I took on that burden, because I watched that from my uncles and my grandfather. And, it's like you put the stone face over you and you're like, no, that don't affect me. When back in your mind, it does. You sit at home, sit in your chair, and it's just constantly running through your head, constantly, constantly, constantly. And you have no outlet, no one to talk to you about that. And that eventually eats away at you.
Tony?
Yeah.
And before you get
Yeah.
started, Tony, I just want everybody to understand it's not like me just calling on you so you can go. Please fill in the blanks. Just be respectful whoever's speaking. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think, Charlie and Rodney nailed it. And, I agree with everything that they put out and said about this. But, to me, it's that whole, why do we avoid it? Especially in my generation, how I grew up, growing up in the inner city, you're viewed as weak by doing that.
Yeah.
If you think that you need
Exactly.
to go seek help for something that's mental, the stigmatism as a black man is that you're weak, you soft, right?
Yeah.
And to Rodney's point, the way that we've been trained and conditioned is that you go handle that with that bottle, you go handle that with those pills or drugs and things like that, which unfortunately a lot of us have done, right? Which is the total spiral that will end you up mentally ill, right? And Yogi, you brought up mental health, right? Well, mental health is wellness, right? That's you taking care of yourself and being, acknowledging, and responding and reacting in a very positive way. When you are mentally ill, you got a problem. You're already there. You already have some form of addiction. That really needs professional help at that point because you're ill, you're sick. You have a condition that needs to be diagnosed by a professional. But to answer your question around why we avoid it, I mean that's as simple as I can put it.
But I also look at it, I think everybody's alluded to when we was growing up, we was told the world famous, don't cry, don't show pain, you show strength. All these different things that I was taught at a young age where your ankle could be swollen like a basketball, but you keep on playing. You don't show any type of weakness because if you are in a place of weakness, nobody will respect you. And the sad part is that we have a lot of folks right now that are suffering because they have been conditioned to believe those old sayings, and we need help. Go ahead, Rodney. Go ahead.
One of the examples I can use is our grandfather. I remember him sitting on a porch one day and he was humped over and I said, Granddaddy, what's wrong? And he showed me a napkin full of blood. I said, where'd that come from? He said, oh, I'm bleeding in my leg. So how long you been doing that? So for a day or two. I'm like, why didn't you say anything? It's something like that. He should have already been to the hospital long ago, but that mentality, you can't show weakness, just like Tony said, prevalent, and that's what forces your mind to not be logical, to take care of yourself.
Yeah. I mean that's it. I mean you made two distinctions there too, Rodney and Yogi. The physical toughness, being the football player you are. I mean you're supposed to play through that. I mean that's the bravado. That's you showing your intestinal fortitude, and that's accepted. But by God, you tell someone that you need to go see, a psychiatrist. Oh my God, what's wrong with him? Is he crazy? Is he? And obviously, I said it earlier. I mean, he's weak. He's not mentally tough, and that is frowned upon in this community. And I'll tell you, once you get to that part of being mentally ill, it takes a lot to get you back to well.
Right. Because
And once you have that stigma of somebody telling you that you are weak, especially if it's an elder in your family, you never recover from that. And I look back on growing up, and I remember my father, RIP, he went from the neighborhood dad to a man that was drinking on a daily basis. And I don't say that to besmirch his name because his name is golden amongst our family members anyway. But I say that in the sense of we as a culture, we have a lot of people in our family that are dealing with depression, dealing with illnesses, dealing with ways. And I also want to go back to something too. Normally what people will try to do is when they start these conversations, they want to give you a whole bunch of stats. They want to start telling you, well, you know, this percentage of people, but those stats are so diluted for the simple fact, and here's an example. If you have a person who is depressed, who has mental illness, they may go into drugs. So if they go into drugs and they run around the street, they become addicted to whatever drug or whatever, and they happen to die or get into a mental institution or something of that nature, they're going to attribute it to drugs, knowing the basis of everything was that depression. Same thing with alcohol. People will go into advice to deal with whatever depression that they have instead of actually going out and seeking the help. Again, what is the difficulty for us to go out and seek help as men? Now, again, and when I say seeking help, that is across the spectrum because everybody, white, black, blue, green, male, female, depression has no qualms about going to whatever culture. Why are we not, as especially in the black culture, black men especially, why do we not seek help during these times?
Tony said it already. It's a condition of how we. So Yates, you've heard me say this before about other stuff, but it's a condition of the condition, right? When depression and anxiety and stress pops up, you go to the easiest coping thing available to you. And since your family has told you not to do this, well, you're gonna go to this, what you said, the alcohol. So you're gonna go to that. You start that cycle and you get stuck, right? So you're coping poorly, right, with the substance, and then you get stuck. And then so because you're stuck, you're not going to look for help outside of that circle that you're in. You just kind of stay there.
Yeah.
Stay there, and you need external intervention, somebody around you typically to recognize it and come and help you get unstuck, because it's tough once you get stuck. It's tough.
Yeah. Charlie, you nailed it. You nailed it, my brother. I mean,
Yeah, you did.
I think too many times we think somebody else is supposed to tell us, and you expect that intervention. Well, if you don't have anyone there, that's not going to happen, but you still have a problem.
Yeah.
And you can't trust that your best friend is going to tell you that, because that's not going to happen in our community. We're not going to go to our best friend and say, hey, brother, I think you need help. We don't do that, unfortunately. Right? But I think, part of what we do as far as, men that have actually gone down this journey and sought, professional help like I have, I do it now.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, even on this panel, I'm not going to, diagnose anybody with depression or anxiety or anything like that. I'm just speaking from experience, right? And that's what I know. Number one, don't expect somebody to come do it, tell you that you have a problem. You got to man up, recognize that you have a problem. And again, going back to what I said earlier, before you get to that illness part, you may have been injured, you may have been hurt, maybe something may have happened, but but if you don't handle it, like Charlie said, you're going to end up ill. And that's when like Charlie said, that's when you're stuck.
Yeah, right. You see, right there, Charlie, when you said, in that circle, as far as society, the last thing you ever see advertised on any kind of mental health issue on TV is for men. It's usually for women. They have now started for children, but you very seldom see, hey, there's a man depressed and let's take you to the psychiatrist. it's very rare that you see commercials like that. It's very rare that you even see it on health applications. You know, or they ask you, you've been crazy, but they never ask you, hey, if you need help, this is the avenue you go to. You don't see that on TV. You don't see it heard on the radio. You don't see it anything on like Facebook, Instagram. You don't see that. You know, because again, stigma. Oh man, and yeah, you know, it's like, come on now. And nowadays, you know, we've gotten really far away of the stereotypical man, and now everything is kind of softening up, if you forgive my term, the men are kind of softening up now, and it's not too uncommon to ask a man, hey, what's going on? But we're still far away, like you said, Charlie. You know, you're still in that circle, so you know, you just kind of say, no, I might say something to him later, and then when later comes along, it's too late.
Too late.
Well,
Yeah.
and Charlie, you had something?
Oh no, I was just agreeing that it's too late. I mean, and don't get me wrong, when I say it's too late, it's never
too late,
because I'm a hopeful guy, and I've been depressed, anxious, angry at the planet, and I've been fortunate to run into people to help me get unstuck. Right? I always tell folks, you're not broken, you're just stuck. And you get stuck in that circle, right? And the right people come along and they can help you if you're fortunate. Some people don't get that help. Some people don't accept that help because of our conditioning, right? Because you could come to people and they're like, I don't want your help, Daryl. Don't tell me what to do. I'm a man. I got this. I don't need your help.
And it's funny that you say that, and it's weird because for me, it took a long time for me to even understand that I was depressed. I can honestly say anybody that knows me outside of what you're seeing now at work, for the longest I had to deal with somebody who was diagnosed with cancer. It was a long, arduous battle. I was working 80 plus hours a week, 7 days a week. Bills was out of control. I was in debt. All these different things were just piling up. But I'm at work like, hey, how you doing? Everything is fine. Everything's hunky-dory. I'm good to go. I'm working on maybe 2 or 3 hours of broken sleep every single night. Couldn't sleep in the same bed with Arinthia simply because every time she moved, I would wake up. I made sure that I woke up for something in the morning, got her vitals, got her medicine, got her prepared, got herself ready for work, dropped off at her mom's house, go to work, do all these different things, come back home, go to her appointments. I was at the point to where I was so freaking depressed, I seriously thought about harming myself. The thing is, now I'm able to talk about these different things because I go to therapy now.
Right on.
I am seeking help. I am finally realizing that I was in need of help because I cannot do this alone. There is no way that I'm capable of doing this alone. But at the time, I felt the need because I'm Yogi, I'm Daryl Yates, I'm this football player, I'm this power lifter. I didn't need nobody to help me understand that I was depressed to the point of damn near suicidal, to the point of even planning it out. There is no way in hell you could have had me talk about any of this, just say 5 years ago, let alone going through what I went through for 10 plus years. 10 plus years of tormenting myself when my inner circle, which is a small inner circle, was telling me, you need help. I don't need no help. Quit talking to me about that. Quit saying that to me. I don't need help. Don't say anything about no help. Leave me alone, to the point to where I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna call you anymore, for the simple fact is I'm not even gonna accept your call because you keep on telling me I need help and I don't. Now I can honestly say, yes, I definitely needed help. And I'm so thankful that I'm getting the help now. But I can't tell you what actually clicked in my head over these last year and a half, or I take a lot back because I started therapy in September. I can't tell you what finally clicked. but thank God that it did click. So what point did you get at to where you can at least share that with somebody during your worst time? What got you to the point to where you can share that information with one of your friends, whoever?
I can start.
I'm not there
Go
yet.
ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Rodney. Go ahead, Rodney. Okay, you're not there yet.
I'm not there yet.
So you know,
we
Yates, you and I talked.
well, there's about a 3-second time delay here when I talk. I don't know because of the internet on my end. So it's like a 3-second delay when I say something and when y'all hear it. Because three of y'all are in the same spot. I'm about 130 miles away. So forgive me if I, accidentally talk over you here. But when we go back to the vice, one of my vices and being a truck driver was I had to flirt with everybody. Any female, I just had to flirt. And one time I flirted and it got me in some serious trouble. And then I sat back and I tried to think, so what in the world, am I doing here? I mean, I could have been in prison just because, I'm sitting here running my mouth to somebody I don't even know. And it made me realize that something else is going on and making me do this, because I'm not like that all the time. It's just all of a sudden I just, I try to figure out what is going on with me that's making me do that. What's going on back at the house? What's going on with my job? And I talked to, God bless his soul, Reverend Brooks about this. And my wife is Catholic, and I talked to Father Bradley about this. And just only briefly. And, now that what my brother said, I'm thinking, maybe I still need to do some follow-up here. Because at 55, I'm still dealing with a lot of things. As I'm going down the road, I just get angry. Somebody do something that like flip me off. That's normal. I mean, if somebody don't flip me off during the day as I'm driving, I think something's wrong. And all of a sudden, somebody flip me off, and I'm chasing this person. I want to run them off the road, kids and all in the car. And I'm thinking, why am I this angry? What? Are you seriously? I'm ready to kill somebody over something that I'll forget, an hour down the road. So, to Daryl's end, maybe I need to sit down and actually have a professional find out what's going on before I end up hurting myself. So, that's about as personal I'm gonna get on here right now. So that I've never told anybody that. So I see you laugh.
Appreciate you sharing.
Thanks.
No, I appreciate that.
Appreciate sharing, man.
I know not to flip you off on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I pray a lot.
Yes.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Oh no, Tony, you were saying something.
No, go ahead, Charlie.
Oh, so what I was gonna say about so I talked to Daryl a lot. We used to occupy office space in the same building, and he knows some of my past employment, and I had one of those jobs where you have clients, your clients go out into the world and your clients die, right? So they're killed from street violence, and that stuff got like really heavy. When I tell you, when you work with kids and they leave and 2 days later they're dead, right? And you put all this energy, all of this professional, constructive effort into this child's life, and then they leave and they're dead 2-3 days later. That took a toll on me, and so I had to seek out professional help so I could sit that with somebody and help them, let them help me process, right? Because I knew I wasn't processing correctly, and it wasn't hard for me to do because I needed to do it. Like the feelings I was having were interfering with my daily function, and it was time to do something about it. And Daryl's heard those stories, but I'm in a better place because I sought help, right? And so this is why I advocate for it. Like Rodney, I can't tell you what to do, but that seed that Daryl planted in you to maybe seek out some help's a good one. It's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Tony?
Totally agree. And Rodney, once again, all jokes aside, but I really appreciate you sharing that story with us, brother. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
But one thing I just want to, no problem. So guys, and everyone on the on the video chat here, let doctors do what doctors do, right? When you talk about mental wellness and being diagnosed, that's for a doctor to do. And hopefully your personal doctor, you can talk to that person and be able to get a referral, to someone that can help you process through. Because at the end of the day, I'm the last one to try to diagnose somebody, or even worst case, try to diagnose myself. I mean, what does that look like? It doesn't. It's impossible. Number one, I don't have the skills. I don't know what I'm talking about, right? And I certainly can't look inside myself or look inside my brain and figure out what's going on. But one thing I do know is that people around you know, they see what's going on, and they see, how you're one person, and maybe, you get triggered and something, and something makes you act out, right? Because when you talk about mental health, you're talking about your emotional well-being. You're also talking about your psychological well-being, but it's that social well-being as well. Have you disconnected? I had to reactivate my Facebook account here to be on this call, because that social well-being part, as far as social media is concerned, I cut off on purpose, right? So, I think Charlie mentioned this. It's never too late, because like Charlie, even though I, went through my process a couple of years ago, or a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, I still pull up. Not as often as I did, when I was going through it pretty hard and heavy for, a little bit over 8 months. It was 2-3 times a week, a couple of times with group sessions with people I don't know. And here I am spilling my beans about everything that's me that I wouldn't tell my close friends. I'm learning about other people in these group sessions. And again, this is 2-3 times a week. And then guess what? On top of that, I'm seeing I'm seeing a doctor that's one-on-one for as long as, hour plus time. So all of that, it wasn't just going to see a doctor one time and leaving that and everything, goes and takes its course. It was a lot of work at that time when I was really going through it. And it was also the fact that I got to stick with it. If I want to, stay in a good place, I think Rodney mentioned this. I mean, I was tired of being angry. I was tired of lashing out at people. Okay. And I wanted to get back to a good place. And it is a process to get back there. Because I said it earlier. I mean, once you're ill, now you got a problem. We're trying to help people not get to the illness part.
Well, and then I'll also
exactly.
say too, that I know you mentioned that you are not a doctor, and that's the one thing we trying to steer away from is we're not trying to diagnose anybody. Our testimony today is basically expressing our journey of at least getting to the point to where we can recognize that we have an issue that needs to be professionally addressed. Lord knows there is no way in the world I could absolutely go and tell or diagnose somebody else when I have issues my damn self. There is no way that I can go and tell somebody, hey, you need help, when I know I need help. So my situation is just having people to understand that you have to put yourself in a position or put yourself around people who are able to recognize that you have an issue and at least help you recognize that you have an issue. It's like the old saying, nobody's going to go and get help for their drug issues or alcohol issues or whatever the case may be until they see fit of getting that help. That's where now I can honestly and openly speak on where I was at just 12 years ago. Just 12 years ago. And 12 years is not a long period of time. I mean, even just as you know, my mother passed in September. Tony and I had a long conversation on our way home to go to a memorial for our frat brother. That was in December. The anxiety I had to go back to the funeral home where I just had to deal with my mother, that was so rough and tough. I can't explain to you. I didn't get no sleep that night. I didn't get no sleep the night before. I say again to everybody listening, depression is real. Depression is not something you guys can play around with, because I was lucky that I didn't harm myself. I'm really, really lucky that I'm still here to even speak to you guys now, because there was a time where I didn't know where to turn. I really, really didn't. Yes, I have my older brother. Yes, I'll talk to my little brother. Yes, I have other family members. But at the same time, sometimes you don't want to go to people that you know for whatever reason. I can't explain to you why I didn't go to them. Not at all. Have no clue. But at the same time, I'm glad that I finally recognized and saw the person in the mirror and said, brother, you can't keep on moving simply because right now you are a walking time bomb. You are a walking time bomb. And until you address this issue, you're never going to move forward. And the sad part is that I have a long way to go, but I'm a lot better now than what I was just say 3 months ago. I don't promote anybody's book or whatever. It's not like I'm getting paid to promote somebody's book, but I would tell you this. The therapist shared with me a book to go and get us a workbook. It's called The Feeling Good Handbook by David D. Burns. I promise you, I've been going through that book. It's a workbook where you actually go through scenarios. I can't tell you the amount of help I've received by going through that. I can't explain to you the nights where I can't sleep at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I get up and I go and read maybe a couple of pages just to get me through. I can't tell you the days where I'm at work and I have those moments and then I reflect on something that I read. Even now, I'm going through the name of the book is Unapologetic. Hold on, I'm going to get it for you now so I don't misquote anything. It is called okay, here we go. It's called okay, put on glasses. It's the Unapologetic Guide to Black Mental Health. That's what I'm listening to right now. Because my thing is that I can't keep moving forward until I address the issues that I'm going through right now. And no, that doesn't make me weak. No, that doesn't make me less of a man. If anything, that makes me more of a man, because now I can share that with whoever's listening and help them understand, like, we have to address this to keep moving forward. We cannot put this in the closet like back in the day and not move forward or just say, hey, it's just going to go away. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, look, don't think that if you choose to address your issue, you are doing that for one person and one person only. Too many times, someone will, and think that I'm doing this because I want to get my relationship back right. I'm doing this because, unfortunately, sometimes it could be somebody, with a job loss because of, the problem that they have, right? And that could be a trigger point, right? But regardless, you are not going to get that job back. You are not going to get that woman or man back, okay? If you're going to do that, do it for you. Absolutely. Don't do it for nobody. You can't do it for nobody else, because that ship is going to sail whatever direction that ship is going to go. But you are the captain of your ship, and to your point, if you want to get that to go in the right direction, then you need to take control of that wheel by taking control of yourself and your own actions and doing it for yourself and navigating your life.
No, and the thing is that understanding that ship can sail but it's not a easy process. And
It's
I'm not
absolutely
just
not.
speaking just for me. I know that there are a lot of people, again, to this day, can even recognize or allow themselves to recognize that they have issues. So it's one of those things where, Lord knows, I'm not trying to say it's easy now, because damn it, it's not. Because I always look at it too. It's amazing how people can put on this facade. Aesthetically, they on point. They dress nice. They have all these materialistic things. They have all these titles, PhDs, all these different. But you are who you are once you lay down that bed and light is off. You can't run from who you are. You can't run from that person that you see in the mirror on a daily basis. A lot of people try to put that facade out there, and the thing is, you cannot run from what issues are bothering you on the inside. Rodney, go ahead.
No, I'm just I'm just going through my head mentally of what you say when you said that you're a ticking time bomb. There's been more than one time I will be standing behind somebody in a line, whatever line I'm in, doesn't matter, that I think, and what if I hit this guy in front of me with a hammer? I mean, just stuff like that will pop in my head, you know, and I'm kind of, where did this come from? You know, it's the same issue about me being angry about something simple. And I said that, and Charlie said this before, you know, it's one of those things where you can't go to anybody else. You know, you have to go directly to a physician. And I think Tony said the same thing. You know, you can't go to somebody who thinks they know something.
Great point.
Charlie?
Oh, I was just agreeing. I think though, like what you were talking about earlier, Daryl, about moving forward. So what we struggle with, I know I struggle with it, is we think we're moving forward. We're in this sailboat that's got this gigantic anchor, man. And so we might be floating on that water. That wind is moving the boat in that circle I mentioned. You ain't going nowhere. You think you are, but you're not until
Hold on, Charlie. Hold on, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Now, I need for you to say this one more time, because I don't think everybody fully understood that who's listening. I want you to say this nice, loud, and say that analogy again, because that hit home. That's profound. Go ahead.
So I've said it before. You got your sailboat. You're floating in this water. You've got this anchor, right? Makes it impossible for you to move forward. It still moves you in a circle because the wind is blowing, but you're not really going anywhere. So when you seek help, you're looking for some help with that anchor, right? That's what. And so you've done that. Daryl, I didn't know you did that. I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, you're not my son, but how proud I am of you to take care that you're taking care of yourself. Like I just think that's incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the anchor story.
Go ahead, Tony.
No, that's a good point. First of all, fantastic.
Yeah,
love that one. I definitely love that one. You know, and it's I'm gonna use it's kind of funny
too, Charlie,
when you talk about sharing that you're going through. Oh yeah. No doubt. I think we are going to patent that one, Charlie. Thanks again.
Okay.
But no, when you talk about sharing, what you're going through, whether whether you're going through and getting help, it's not to be advertised. I don't think that's something that you want to put. It's like your own personal medical condition. I mean, I don't think most people are going to put out whatever my medical condition is and just for the world just to know, just because, right? So it's personal, right? It's your own personal journey. And again, like I said earlier, not doing it for anybody else but yourself, right? And it kind of hit me one time when I think it was like a Thursday night, maybe around 7 o'clock, and I get a phone call. I'm just getting out of my session, and I get a phone call from a good friend, old drinking buddy. Hey, where you at? It's almost the weekend. What's going on? I'm like, oh, I'm just getting out of my group session. I'm like, what? Just getting out of a group session? Didn't even know you were going through that. I'm like, yeah, I absolutely am. Now, am I going to sit here and go to him and say, hey, brother, now that I'm going through this, here's all these golden nuggets and you need to do the same? I'm just telling you that I'm doing it for me, bro. And if you got an issue, I strongly recommend that you go seek professional help, zip my mouth, pray for him, and keep it moving.
And that's an excellent point, because if you ask me, and I feel comfortable enough to tell you.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, I will let you know, like, hey, yeah, I am seeking this type of help. I have no problem with it, because, again, one of the ladies at work, she and I sat back and talked, and I talked about it to her, and she's like, yes, my son actually goes. He's been getting help. So the thing is that people are now recognizing more and more that you cannot do this by yourself. And again, it's okay to talk to certain friends, but at the same time, those are not the professionals that you need to deal with to get you where you need to be. With that being said, we have to understand that once we recognize that there's an issue, seek that help. Definitely seek that help. So I look at it, I would say this, and I want you guys to be mindful of when what is the one thing that you do when you at that self-destructive moment? And it doesn't necessarily mean self-destructive like you're going to harm yourself, but it can be self-destructive where you might end up saying something negative, cursing somebody out. What is the one thing that you do when you at that moment, but you know you need to de-escalate? Anybody?
It's kind of hard to describe if I'm at to that point to where, you know, I'm ready to do something that might cause me trouble down the line. One of my things I will do would be go into my fantasy world. And, you know, once I'm in my fantasy world for a couple of hours, when I come back out of it, all of a sudden I got another perspective. Whatever was bothering me, it's like, okay, that's not that big of a deal. It's still there. The problem's still there, but now, since I went to my fantasy world and de-escalate there, now I can deal with it better. That's what I usually do. I don't know about the three of y'all, but that was my way of coping with something. When I'm at that point to where, okay, you know, I'm about ready to, something's going to happen here. I got to do something. Then, you know, I escape for a little bit.
Robinson?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't do any one thing. I've gotten to a good habit of checking myself. You know what I mean when I say checking myself?
No, explain.
See, I don't want to wait.
Explain that.
I don't want to wait for you or the stranger to check me before I make something escalate. I practice checking myself. Now, we started the session with a prayer, didn't we?
Yep.
So that's one of them spirituality, one of them fallbacks that I use, because I have a history. I don't have little man syndrome, but boy, I sure act like it sometimes. And and you know, if
I'm gonna leave that alone, Robinson. I'm gonna leave that alone.
I know you can leave. Yeah, I certainly act like I do, not as often as I used to. But so if I check myself, then I know it's done out of care and concern. If I wait for the stranger to do it, it can be something else. And so this is a progression, because I didn't have control at points in my life. I mean, I was an angry, depressed, anxious person, right? And that could be situational. It's only when it became long-term that you recognize, hopefully, that you need to get some help outside of yourself. But yeah, I'm good at checking myself.
Yeah, Tony.
Well, Yogi, you know me, especially from my college days. You know my fuse is not long, right? I mean,
I didn't.
I would
Hey,
snap on a dime.
Ship, I didn't know you had a
Um,
fuse, but go ahead.
oh well, yeah, I guess that's true too. The wind can blow,
Yeah.
but yeah. So it was that chip on the shoulder. You know, first generation college student from the hood, and you know, who are you guys, right? I got a chip on my shoulder. You test me, I'm gonna test you back 10 times fold, and I kept that. Wasn't healthy. So, you know, just recognizing that I had that attitude and it needed a serious adjustment. People call that person the cocky asshole, you know, pompous, chauvinistic pig, all that, right? And recognizing that's who I did not want to be, right? And it actually goes back to to what both of my predecessors just said here. You know, I disassociate. You need to be on a timeout, bruh. And that timeout is just for you and only you. And, you know, to what Charlie mentioned, that there's several different things, right? You know, you go into Sioux Patches Park, you know, taking a little walk, you know, looking at the river, right? Taking a long drive, right? You know, other things that, you know, that you can do by yourself to basically get yourself out of that zone when you get triggered. And it could be a phone call, it could be anything. Kids getting on your nerves, anything, you know? So disassociating, not and thinking before you act. Thinking before you act. And not only that, so then, you know, you disassociate yourself. It may not mean that the problem went away, you know, but guess what? Now you go back, now you're at home. And me personally, I journal. I mean, there's a Bible journal that I have, right? I wish I would do it every day. A good friend got it for me. Thank you very much. You know who you are if you out there. But you know, but that helps out a lot, right? And, you know, not just journaling your thoughts, you know, being able to go back in that journal and realize what's happened 2-3 weeks ago, a month ago, or what have you, that helps out a lot, because what we're trying to do at the end of the day is not repeat those same bad behaviors.
Yes, sir.
And that's key, because again, just like everybody alluded to, I don't have one thing. Drawing is one thing I want to get back into. I have to explain to folks that drawing for me is a vibe. If I'm not mentally into my drawing, then I can't draw. But then when I get into it, I can sit down and draw 8, 9, 10 hours straight, not eat, no bathroom, no anything. I would zone out and sit at my drawing table and just start drawing and painting and all mixed medium. But right now for me, especially when the weather breaks, which we soon is, me being on that motorcycle. Nobody will understand unless you've been on a motorcycle to go riding. Sometimes I might ride at 1 or 2 o'clock at night. There's nothing more peaceful to me than being on a motorcycle at late at night when nobody's out there and you just enjoying the music. I have my own little concert, or just riding during the day, going out to Alton, or going through Alton, or going out to Pierre Marquette out in Grafton, past Grafton. That drive, that 20-mile drive along, I think it's the Missouri, you can't get any better than that. That is a peaceful ride. Or when I go to see my little brother, when I go home, it's one of those things, just being on the motorcycle. I call it bike therapy. That's my therapy. But I also found myself in the past, when I wasn't recognizing that I had issues I really need to address, I would become a recluse, to where I would resort on just going home and being by myself. But I found out that sometimes it's not the best thing to do, because now you are in this world where all these thoughts are just popping in and out of your head. And now I occupy my time by listening to books or doing something other than just sitting down. And I encourage anybody to find a niche, to find something that's going to put you in a place to where you don't want to go negative, but just stay in a positive mind frame. So,
And just real quick on
ahead.
that one. You mentioned, you know, the part of, you know, maybe being viewed as like a recluse, you know, if you're having that alone time or whatever. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. It's all about what you're doing during those times, right? You know, you can't be sitting there, you know, with you know, up under the bottle, if you guys know what I mean.
Yes.
Okay. You know, what are you doing during that alone time when you're quote unquote being a recluse? Hopefully those thoughts that you're going through, you already, that's self-therapy. You acknowledging it right off the bat. And you will hope that the next time you roll yourself back out to the world, or even in that same situation that you may have that may have triggered you a week ago, that you're going to handle it much differently. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but certainly, make sure that if you're going to do that, that is productive and it's healthy.
Yeah, I got
That's the key.
one.
Go ahead, Rodney.
I got one to say. The mechanics one day got in my truck to repair something, and when he got out, he asked me, "Why do you have a set of drumsticks in your truck? You trying to go to a concert or something?" And he could not understand, as me being a drummer, I'm sitting outside at a dock for hours at a time, or I have to spend the night someplace where there's nobody around. And like you said, Daryl, these thoughts get in your mind. I think Tony said it too. You got these thoughts that come in your mind. And so you have to do something to occupy your time. So what I do is go through the drum rudiments. And I'll just keep going through it. And I'll go through something I would play at church. I'll go through it and go through it until I'm finally, I can't play anymore. And by the time I get that point, I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. And whatever was bothering me doesn't bother me as much anymore. But like you said, you just can't sit, and you got to have something to do. And that's why I had the drumsticks in my hand. That was something that somebody else told me, to do, to have something. So that's why I got the drumsticks in my truck. And that's, one of the therapies that y'all were talking about.
Yeah.
I would say this, and we're going to come, start wrapping it up. You look at what has been said thus far, and it's so impressive from my end to see that I'm not alone in this journey. That's what is amazing to me, because again, I always explain to folks, I don't do interviews. I'm not doing interviews. That is not my job to be an interview. We got plenty of people on Facebook Live or whatever podcast. That's not my objective when I've asked people to come on. I don't have no pre-made questions. I do a little bit of history or research, but it's more so just I want folks to come on here and be comfortable, whatever the topic that I have, and just talk. The biggest thing for me is having people, especially grown-ass men, have it be okay that we can sit back and talk to each other, and it's okay to say, hey, I am getting therapy. I do need help. I do need a hug. And here's why I say this. I'm not going to reveal the gentleman's name, but last year he was going through some issues with his mom. And if he's on here listening, he knows exactly who we're talking about. And we have been cool for years through Western University. So he came up to me and he felt comfortable, which I was honored that he did. But he came up to me and he said, hey, listen, I'm going through a tough situation right now because my mom is ill and I don't know how to deal with this. I started explaining to him some of the things I went through when I was dealing with Arinthia and the traps I started putting myself in and the holes that I was putting myself in, and I pushed everybody away. And I explained to him, you got to express these feelings. You got to get around people. And more than anything, you have to go and seek help. Before I know it, we were out there good 30 or 40 minutes. Next thing you know, we both in tears. Two grown men in tears because we are feeling what the other person is feeling simply because he's going through what I've already been through. And what's so unfortunate that his mother recently passed in September 13th. She passed away at 1 something in the morning. My mother passed away at 1 something in the afternoon. So we're going to forever be interlinked on the 13th. And she just recently had a birthday and I sent out a prayer message to him, but it's like we have these conversations, not all the time, but we have these conversations where we both know it's okay. Like, hey, if you need to call somebody, if it's at 2 o'clock in the morning, you need to call me, it's okay. And the door's open on my end just as well as his end. But you need that person in your life to where you feel comfortable enough with it, where you can express these inner feelings and get it out, especially with somebody who is understanding what you're going through. I say this to anybody listening, it is okay to be uncomfortable. I say it again, it is okay to be uncomfortable. And what I mean by that is when you are uncomfortable and you're addressing an issue that needs to be addressed, it's not going to feel hunky-dory. It's not going to feel great. It's going to be an uncomfortable feeling to express some things that you need to address. And hopefully the person you're expressing it to will help you out. And then you can go and get some professional help. I say all that to say, I cannot tell you how much I have been enlightened to listen to co-worker, frat brother, big brother, talk about things that you guys have gone through over these years. And again, I'm not alone. It's a beautiful feeling to know that you have gone through similar things. With that being said, what are your parting words before we move on with the rest of your weekend, Robinson?
Oh, I'll be quick. Personal growth does happen when you're uncomfortable, right? And in fact, that's probably one of the best places to grow is when you're uncomfortable. The other thing is vulnerability as a strength. If men would just see that, it would be so much easier for them to seek out the help they need.
Yeah.
Tony?
Well, parting words. If you feel that you need to, address any type of, mental issues that you may have, just understand that you are not being weak. You're being very strong. It's the total opposite.
Rodney?
Being a Rail fan, they have a slogan, stop, look, and listen. And I will apply that to your personal self. First, you need to stop, recognize that you have a problem. You need to look at yourself, see where that problem is coming from, and you need to listen to people that want to help you out.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No.
And I say this with total hesitation. When people say Black History Month, every month is Black History Month. So I don't negate our history to just one particular month. So we need to stop that nonsense and don't just patronize me with just a little bit of information during these times. We're a lot more than just 5 or 6 people that people have a tendency to recognize. No, that's a whole nother issue. Don't get me started. So I have a quote by James Baldwin, and it says, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced."
That's right.
I'm going to say that one more
Mm-hmm.
time by James Baldwin.
Again.
And that's going to be another book that I'm going to, well, I already have it. I'm going to read that one as well. By James Baldwin. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. Again,
Nice.
family, y'all my family. Much love to everybody in here. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to allow yourself to go live and to allow people to listen to your testimony. I hope that somebody really, really sees this video or hears us speaking and can really, really understand and benefit from seeking help, because it's real. Depression is real. And if you see another brother, I always tell people, you'll be amazed hey, how you doing? Have a good day. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
A
okay?
smile.
A smile. Little things like that. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know what is behind their threshold. You don't know that they made, just that simple smile and a hello could put them in a position to where they can move on for the rest of the day. It does not cost you anything to speak to somebody with a nice, receptive voice. It's okay. It's really, really okay to speak to another brother. It's okay to say people that you know, that you have a rapport with. It's okay to say, hey, I love you, brother. It's okay with that. So once we get out of our own insecurities and start treating folks as a human being and treating folks with the utmost respect, it's going to be stagnant, but it's up to us as an individual to improve in these areas. It starts with us. As Michael used to say, it's the man in the mirror, and that's a true statement. So with that being said, fully understand that I always end with Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I want you guys to be blessed for the remainder of this weekend. I want you guys to understand that it's up to you to grow, nobody else. And with that being said, anybody have anything they want to put out there, sell, any last parting words before we move on the rest of our night? Tony?
On
I
the
see you
radio
smiling.
program.
You got something.
No, I do enough selling at work, man. So,
Yeah.
but no, I just want to thank you, Yogi Daryl Yates, for having this very important discussion. It takes a lot of bravery just for you to even put it in the forefront, like you have, and that you continue to do on multiple topics that are important, not just to the Black community, but, to the nation as well, right? So I respect you. I love you, my brother, and keep doing a great job. I personally benefited from being a good friend of yours, a good brother of yours, and I love you for that, and just keep up the good work.
Oh, your check coming in the mail, big bro.
Man, just make sure my shirt comes. I'll take the shirt.
Hey, because look, right now, our ships on they got our text. So
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, you up.
Yeah, I know. I'm ready for that.
Go ahead, Rodney.
Brother, I feel a lot closer to you than I ever have after this session. And the radio program I use to host, I always say, people rather have your time than to receive your gifts. That's kind of my little quote at the end of that program I had. So, I feel honored to be with you, Tony, and you, Charlie. It's been very insightful. I hope to be in this panel again sometime soon.
My man, Charlie.
Oh, hey, good to meet you, Tony and Rodney. Yates, you're one of the strongest people I know, and you just proved that again today by having this show and sharing and some of the stuff about your life. Thanks for doing it. This is a good time.
One last thing. I'll tell you what we're selling. We're selling Hendo.
Yeah, that was my last. That's what I'm
Hendo.
with. Again, just understand the shirts. My webpage. I've been working. Let me just say this: when you become an entrepreneur, it is a grind. I have been enjoying it, and anybody that knows me know that it actually has kept my sanity over these last 7 or 8 months. And in less than a year's time, I'm doing things like, for example, which let me explain real quick. For example, is a concept in honor of my mother and my father. My dad used to always say, I'm giving you a for example, when he was going to tell you that you were doing something wrong, just like if you keep on playing with that stove, you're going to get burnt, son. So you need a for example. And in honor, what I alluded to earlier, honor of my mother was born on the 13th and she transitioned on the 13th. So, for example, the name is from my father, and then on the 13th of every month is in honor of my mom. So that's mom and dad. With that being said, my Hendo Health and Wellness page is finally up.
All right.
Yeah, I've been working on it. I've been getting all the help. It's out there. Check it out. Look at it. It's a work in progress, but I will promise you, I cannot be where I'm at without the help that I have been receiving. So all of you, you know who you are, all the little push and not allowing me to get too much into myself is really, really helpful. You cannot be successful without the help. So I greatly appreciate it. All that being said, please go to my Hendo Health and Wellness webpage. Go to the secure site. Fellas, y'all have a blessed weekend. Excuse my technical difficulty. I'm still learning this whole computer thing. And love you guys, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right. Until next time, y'all take care.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
Thank you.
Bye.